don't look for pity. So if it's all the same, you won't let me down.
Now what you doing? Oh, get those levels right. Oh, that was a good track.
That was a good track.
I feel like a radio DJ. And that track was by I'm not even going to say it because of censorship and copyright. So.
My head was cut off. It's okay now.
Oh,
who was that?
It grew back.
Mark Lanigan.
Mark Flanagan. Hannigan.
Mark Lanigan.
Lanigan
Used to play in the Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh yes, we got introduced to that artist the other day by a good friend. It was a good track, good stories. He's apparently got a really good history. I don't really know much about him, but good music.
It's crazy what rock and roll people got away with back then.
Do we have to pay royalties now because we've played the song? We've talked about the artists and stuff. No.
Well, how long did we play? Like less than 30 seconds?
I don't know. What's YouTube's algorithm for getting copyright stuff? I mean, we've only had it a few times. We've actually done episodes where we've had to go back and remove certain tracks because they get flagged for copyright.
Yeah, I think YouTube seems to have more of a problem than any of the other platforms for some reason.
I think, well, is it YouTube's a Google?
Yeah.
App? Yeah. Well, Google's running their algorithms.
It's
the AI.
Remember how when we used to use Shazam, we were like, how the fuck does this work? And then we realized that they're matching waveforms.
Yeah, that's still some amazing technology.
Because we always thought like, oh, there's someone actively listening and matching stuff. No, it's all completely AI driven.
Yeah, well, so I was going to start with another story, but now I'm going straight into it. So I was watching there's a series on Netflix at the moment called Connected, which talks a lot about different episodes, one about surveillance and other things about like mind Neuralink type stuff down to secret societies, even though they don't exist. But one of them, he went to this museum in Milan, which had an exhibition going on about the history of facial recognition. And essentially the story is that the origins of facial recognition started back in 1963, where people were trying to essentially identify faces using letters and numbers. You know how like in say on online stuff, you can draw a picture with letters. You know, I don't know the actual term of what they're called, but people have pictures made from letters and stuff. That was essentially the beginning of facial recognition back in the early 60s, where they were using letters and actually trying to shape a face using the different sizes of the typography and things like that. Mm-hmm. Back in the early 60s. Yeah. 60s, they were messing around with this stuff. And since then, there's still to this day, the guy, I can't remember his name, I have to go back and find it, but to this day, a lot of his work and stuff is still classified.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think they use that a lot in... Well, obviously, the tech of today, it's doing the same thing with ones and zeros, right? Yeah. It's getting kind of a match and then breaking it down to data.
The whole process and system is probably so advanced now, beyond what we could even comprehend.
Because, like we were saying in the earlier session, it's the matching of that with AI that really blows the gate open. Because then you have something that's not only interpreting the data, but it's thinking and it's drawing patterns together. It's looking at movement, like how far things have come now. Like we didn't we post something to our Instagram where it was like the workplaces now have AI social distancing cameras, being able to kind of catalog where everyone is and how far away they are from each other.
Yeah, like I put it, I think it's the same story because I shared it with you. The facial recognition, first, for social distancing in workplaces, and but also they're saying how sports, this is in Australia, how they're using facial recognition for sporting, where they can identify a player and bring up either like their medical records, their history, whether they've had fines, their game. It's incredible. It's fucking insane. It is. This to me is what this New World Order is. You know, like I'm not going to go out and say that the New World Order is a group of global elites that are purposely creating and designing the world to suit their agenda. You know, we talk about the top 1%, the Bilderberg groups that sit there and say, we want the world to do this, we want the world to do that. Beyond that, what is actually happening is, in my mind, the agenda of what this New World Order is meant to be. This
So
whole
it's already playing out.
it's already playing. Yeah. It's already being integrated into society right now.
Because it's usually being talked at as some unforeseen thing that will sweep the world and we won't know it's happening, but it's literally happening now. I think.
It's that idea that because it happens slowly over time in small incremental steps.
Yeah.
Like if it was just overnight someone to stand up and say, I am now your world leader and we are doing this, and this, people would go absolutely apeshit.
Plus now we're so dopamine driven, we're so dopamine deprived. All of our information is in sound bites, it's tweets, everything's so short. You know, Instagram stories, or what was that social media platform before that was really, really quick? Like Vine, right? Vine was like 5 seconds.
We got into it.
But Snapchat, things like that. But when we're training our minds to be so short-term with our memory, it's like we can't. How do we hold people accountable if we literally can't remember what happened yesterday? No. You know what I mean? And these are like you were saying, this is a slow burn, right? So this is like 100-year rollout. We don't have, like, I reckon within one generation you'd lose all the info.
Yeah, it was the fact that a story can come up and it lasts so short because it just gets more stuff gets piled on top of it.
Yeah,
that it's almost like, well, no one's going to stop to go back and try and look into other stuff, such as, well, we've forgotten about Isaac Cappy, we've forgotten about
too much. There's too much.
Too much as it goes on.
Too much
because we just get bombarded with more stuff.
Yeah.
But then, like I was going to say, you know, we essentially we've become slaves to technology, and that sounds very hypocritical to say because, well, I mean, like I can openly admit that I'm a bit of a slave to technology because I use a lot of it. I mean, it's not to say that I need it. You know, a lot of people that can't find their way around without a GPS. Not toot my own horn, but I don't need a GPS to find my way around.
Yeah.
But it's just...
Yeah. Well, I find people that even if they do have the knowledge, like they start doubting their own knowledge, and they go, "Oh, I better refer to this. Better refer to this machine to tell me if I'm right or not." Even though you know you're right. You know?
They need that. I'm not going to say peer support, but they need that majority support. It's like they need to have the answer that everyone else has to feel part of the team, part of the group.
Yeah.
Because they'll feel alienated or isolated, funny word to use now, if they're not on the same page as everyone else, which you see a lot in, let's say, the music industry, where people are determined, like back before, you know, you had, you know, the punk rock style where people just didn't care and they were saying stuff. Nowadays, in order to keep their online followers, their digital footprint, their sponsorship, because you need a certain amount of followers and
their
stuff.
label.
The labels and stuff, which is because it's all through digital stuff now. It's all through technology. It's all about followers. It's all about likes. It's all about the algorithms of listeners and the algorithms of the whole sharing and stuff. That if you don't have that, you are no longer on that same level playing field as everyone else.
Yeah, you're not relevant. You're literally not relevant. Yeah, yep. And it's funny. And I mean, I sound like an old cunt when I say it, but I do remember a time when everything was about crushing the system, right? And that's how, like when we listen to Slipknot, even now I find Slipknot, like the first album that came out, I find that heavy for today's standards. Do you know what I mean? Like if I heard that today, I would be like, this is pretty heavy. Like, you know, the stuff from the self-titled album when that came out.
Yeah.
But
you look at Corey Taylor now.
Yeah. Yeah.
CMFT, Corey motherfucking Taylor.
Yeah, he's got a new video.
Sold out
right?
so big with his blue tick everywhere now.
He's
and,
yelling at
he's
people
up,
to
you know,
wear
saying
masks.
if Slipknot can wear masks, everyone can wear masks. Like,
It's cringe, isn't it?
don't. Yeah, Slipknot were designed as not. That's a bad word. Designed. Slipknot was that band for the like the individual, the outcast, to build a community for those that didn't feel a part of something. You know, people would come together, like the metal fans, the Slipknot fans. A lot of people that went through a lot of bad younger years, they got together over Slipknot. Like it drive it, and now there's Slipknot pushing like the whole political, commercial agendas and stuff. Like,
it was kind of bringing me to a point, which was like now there's this weird thing. Maybe it's always existed. Maybe it's always been there. But I feel like now, I would hate to be under the limelight in any shape or form nowadays. Before, I used to wish I was I wouldn't say famous, but like respected and appreciated and in the music industry and widely known and recognized, right?
Yeah. We all wanted to be rock stars.
We all wanted to be that. And now I'm like, not to sound negative, but I'm glad almost that I didn't go for that. And I'm not going for that anymore, because what it takes nowadays to sustain that image of perfection, like all the landmines you got to dodge, all the political ticks that you got to tick, you know, all of the opinions that are pushed onto you that you should have as a musician. Nowadays, it's way harder. I would have been fired from my label instantly because I don't follow anything.
Yes.
I don't buy into movements. Like, I get your passion and like, yeah, absolutely. If you have a certain amount of recognition, you can use that as a platform to get your message out. If you believe in something politically, you have a right to do that. But not when that is the cost. Like, not when that's the ticket to get in, is you got to have this fucking opinion. Like, fuck that.
Well, I'd like to think, well, you've always been closer to that door than I have. I'm not sure how far that door is, but you've always been a bit closer to that.
Not far at all.
I've always been at the doors of the pub, and the doors being kicked out of the pub, and the doors between the legs and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I like to think the fact that we never actually broke it through gave us that opportunity to see it for what it really is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that idea that, you know, we want to be known, we want to be recognized for who we are and what we actually stand, like ourselves. Even though, especially for me, musically, myself is not me. Well, it is me, but not me, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you see how labels and you see how the industry works. They'll find something that they see that they can make money out of, and then they'll find a way to continue to make money. And in that means it's like molding. They have to mold. They mold you to suit their agenda, to suit them, so they can. It's not about you making money.
Yeah.
It's not about you becoming popular. It's about them. It's about the industry.
Yeah.
And then if you look back and go, well, you know, you lose everything that you stand for because you now have to satisfy the industry, and then you just become washed
You become
out.
a little prostitute. That's what happens. You literally get pimped out. And that's what I noticed.
I'm not going to touch those words in the industry.
Well, literally pimped out, if you want to get really deep.
Yeah.
But what I noticed from my very short snapshot of the music industry, which I consider very small compared to a lot of people that I highly respect, like, is so much, like, I would say 90% is bullshit. It's schmoozing. It's talking to people you don't want to talk to. It's playing this game.
It's marketing.
It's not even marketing, but it's also like it's pandering. You have to. I am not a social person. But you have to be to succeed.
It works the way that social media works, in that we sell an illusion of our lifestyles. We sell an illusion.
Can't stand it.
Of what everything is.
I can't stand it. Yeah.
And yeah, it's the same. Like, I'd like to be, you know, if I was, you know, touring the world playing music, if I was touring, you know, had thousands of fans and stuff, great. But on my terms.
On my terms.
Being who I want, saying what I want, doing what I want, which is sitting around getting drunk and just playing music. But that's an illusion. That's not an illusion. That would be an image that doesn't suit the industry's money-making schemes.
Yeah.
So, in other words, they have to create an illusion that this is how the person is, this is how the person thinks they can make it. Same with social media. People sell this illusion that their lives are all great and they spend the little snapshots they have on their Instagrams, little stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're not gone, they're sitting back going, oh, I hate everything. Oh, fucking social media. I hate social media. And then, okay, got to do my post. Life is great. And then it's like, oh, I fucking hate this shit.
I
don't put illusion. I'm just like, I hate this shit.
A lot of I hate to say it, a lot of these social media influencers, like, they have some degree of mental illness. Like, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. Like, the stress that they have to uphold that image all the time, you're giving yourself anxiety and depression.
Well, yeah, but this is stuff we've talked a lot about on the podcast, and a lot of people talk about, a lot of people admit it, is how technology actually affects the mind, the brain, the body.
Gives you anxiety, man.
It develops it, and people will almost admit that, yes, we know that social media does this. We know that sitting in front of the TV does this. We know, but they will continue. I'm not going to say they, because I do it as well.
I do it too, yeah.
We all do it. It's that addictive nature. Like you're saying, the dopamine type fix thing, where
the dopamine rush,
you
where
just need it.
You crave it. Even like they call it like a very Pavlovian thing. Like when you ding a bell and you give a dog a treat, that's our notification bell. Bing, and we get the treat of we got contact. You know,
do you get?
It's training. We're being trained.
Yeah, I was standing with a mate downstairs the other day, not the other day, other week probably, and he was saying, oh shit, I thought my phone rang, and we started talking about the ghost vibrator.
The phantom ring.
The phantom ring.
It's an actual syndrome.
It is. And I guarantee so many people listening will be like, oh yeah, they've had it before. Where they've had their phone in their pocket or something and they felt it vibrate. And they have to pull it out and check it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's nothing there. It's like, because your mind has almost been implanted with this idea that something's going to happen on your phone, or you're going to get a call, you're going to do this. And it's, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, because I'm just saying it's a thing.
It's real.
It exists.
Yeah.
And so many people know it exists. They know they just, but it's, I don't know. I can't explain it.
Just look at the effect on sleep patterns. Like our sleep is being affected by looking at a screen all day. Especially if you work in a job where you have to do it all day. Then we come home and then we edit this and we're sitting in front of a screen again for the rest of the night. And then we wake up and do it all again. And we like to think that there's absolutely zero, what do you call it, side effect to that? I don't know, man.
Well, the last 2 days, because I was working away for 2 days and I had no phone reception for 2 days.
Yeah.
And it was the best. I had the best sleep. We were in like this little cabin house that had an open fire, and we were in the loft above the fire, so the whole house was just toasty warm. Had a swag rolled out, I had no reception for 2 days. Like, fuck it, my phone just stayed in my bag. No point getting out because I can't do anything. Nothing happens. Work, like the job we did just went by so quickly, and it went perfectly, and nothing went wrong because no one was distracted. Other guys had phone because they were with Telstra. I'm not with Telstra, so I didn't have reception. And I was glad, and I had the best sleep. Woke up with no sort of like, oh shit, I better check my phone. Did anything? I'm like, no. And it was only when I got back to the city when I started getting some pings notifications, and they're saying, oh, okay, I've got emails. But I felt like having those 2 days of not having my phone gave me a break from all of that stuff, allowed me to get my body back into a good spot, and then I can just sort of attack my phone because there's shit going on. Because the worst thing I know so many people do it. You spend all day like waiting for a reply or waiting for something to happen on your phone, and it never happens. You're waiting for a reply, you're waiting for an email, you're waiting for a notification, you're just waiting, and it doesn't happen. Take 2 days off, come back to your phone, and there's shit happening. You're like, okay, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to get into it.
Yeah.
It's bad. So, you can. I hope everyone's subscribing on iTunes and watching us on YouTube and
There is no iTunes anymore.
following our
It's
Instagram.
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast. Oh yeah, iTunes. Yeah, iTunes is gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that was a while.
We've been. I've been investigating this platform called Anchor, which looks pretty
Yes,
good.
you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you showed me the other day off camera.
It just looks like something that I didn't even know existed. This is not a sponsor, by the way. No, but in terms of gaining control of every single element, right down to the ads.
Just being able to manage it, the management of it all. Yeah.
And I really like the live, where you can almost have like a Skype call live, but it's designed to record both parties and to give you a waveform.
Yeah. Well, I think all that stuff's just building on because podcasts are becoming very popular. But in the same way that we've just been talking about the music industry, is that podcasts are becoming so commercial and it's being taken over by the already established industries, whether it be radio stations or businesses. They're now sort of capitalizing on this podcast thing that it was the underground network built.
Yeah.
The underground network, which now some of those people are kind of shying away. We're not going to go into, but the idea that something that started off so raw and underground because they didn't want that sort of association with the mainstream stuff is now being taken over by that fucking mainstream shit.
Well, also it was where you went to get away from that stuff, to hear something a bit more long form, a bit more real. And yeah, you're right. Now it's. I mean, I have no issue with if you're popular because you are popular. That's fine. But what I am afraid of at the moment is people looking through your whole back catalog, finding one thing that you said from episode 2, and going, "You're a fucking this. You're a fucking that. We should report you."
Yeah,
that's the shit that I'm like. Just let people have their own content. Unless you're yelling, for people to grab a knife and stab someone, you should be allowed to say whatever the fuck you want.
Didn't I say that on another podcast? I don't know. Maybe you said it. I think you said it.
I think I said it.
But the other thing is, especially with this podcast and the real podcast network is, it's essentially it's the platform where people can share what's on their mind at that time.
Yeah.
It's not to say that what you say, what we said on a podcast 5 years ago is something we still believe now.
Yeah. Do you know what all those people that want to cancel and then want to bring shit up, what do they all have in common? Most of them don't put out their own content. You know what I mean? They don't know what it's like to create content and to be held accountable to something you might have said on a whim 8 years ago. Like that's how picky people are getting now, and that's the only thing I'm worried about in the big scheme of things is.
What do you think? There's a bit of jealousy in it, like, oh, how come this person gets to be up here with their stuff and I'm still down here? Like they're a creator, they're doing all this content, yet I don't agree with what they're doing, but I'm not doing it myself.
No. Not really. More like they don't know what it. They're not held to those standards that they're applying to others. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't know what it's like to be behind the microphone speaking your mind and to be judged on that. Do you know what I mean? So they hold people to these high standards, and it's like the most humbling thing I think that everyone can do is try and create content, because then they know, they're like, oh, that's what it's like. That's what it's like to be held accountable to something you might have said, and how dumb that is. Like, I think it's healthy for everyone to put, their own content out in whatever shape or form, but that is what I'm worried about, is censorship of podcasts. I think it's coming. And I think there's a lot of algorithms being built by tech companies now to look up keywords, so they can just find me everyone that said this phrase. Cool, ban them. Like,
I'm worried about censorship in general, not just in podcasts. Fuck.
Well, in general, yeah. But here's the thing: like with platforms like Facebook and Twitter, getting censored on there is kind of like, yeah, whatever. You're on their platform, you know. But as a podcaster, I don't know why that hurts more when you're blocked, because it seems like such a free and liberated medium. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you get banned on YouTube, it's like, cool, you're on their platform. But when your podcast starts getting shadow banned and like you start getting removed, that's a whole other ballgame.
Nah, but it depends what the platform is.
Yeah, true.
You know, we this podcast is on Spotify. Yeah. We have it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it through Google Pod. You can find it on all those platforms. But again, those are the platforms. Mm-hmm. And those platforms have essentially the rights to do what they please. We accept their terms and conditions to put our content onto their platforms. The only real ways to do it is if we were to have our own platform. Then the only people that can say yes or no to it is us. And I think that's the problem is you can't, not everyone can have their own platform, their own individual way, because just the way that the world is now is connected. Everyone wants a single place to go to get everything.
Yeah, everyone wants their Google to link to their YouTube to link to they want the convenience of having everything there.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many people want that, but that's just how it is.
Well, that's how it's designed. So you become subservient to the convenience of having everything in one place. Because I don't know who would go to a website to listen to anything nowadays.
Yeah.
Would you go to soandso.com to listen to that one podcast? No, you want it to pop up in your little app, right? Yeah. You want it right there.
Everything. I mean, I still got iTunes. I took all my. I still have CDs. I never listened to them.
CDs?
I have CDs and DVDs. I actually have some cassette tapes somewhere. And then I have my iTunes music. Like my iPad's still got a whole bunch of my old iTunes stuff on it. And I've only got like 12 songs on my phone. But everything is just through Spotify.
Yeah.
I have my podcast on Spotify. Any song that I want to listen to at any time, any artist is all there just on Spotify. Like Spotify is the go-to app. Everything is on it. But Spotify are the ones that control it. They can choose what they want to put up. They can choose what gets censored, what gets promoted, and we don't have a say.
And you don't own the music either.
Yeah, but I'm not arguing saying that we should. I'm just saying that that's how the industry is. That's how that business works. We choose to accept their terms and conditions. And if they want to ban our podcast, well, we can't really. We can argue about it and say it's unfair, but we can't really. It's not we can take them to court or anything.
No. That's why I think the best thing to do is like have several layers so that you can have a fallback, a Patreon, a website, or something where you can host it still. You know,
we should build our own app. No, seriously, build an app where it's almost like a Spotify player.
I think
just
that's
for the
even
podcast.
more. That's more work.
Well, it's more money. If you want to sponsor, if you want to donate to the podcast, so we can build an app. You can do that somehow. And
soon you'll be able to do that.
Yeah. I just want to. Can we address an issue that has been raised before?
Okay.
Is how do people find out about our podcast? We've only been doing it for what?
I would say 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
I was going to say 6. Maybe it's longer.
2012.
Wow.
2011, end of 2011. Well, we were fucking around in 2011.
Yes.
Nothing came out until 2012,
2012, yeah. Shit.
That's been a while.
But yeah, like I think we're just really bad with our marketing and our
I don't think we're bad.
We're not bad, we're just
it's just such a part of
chore.
It's such a part of the whole thing that I can't divert emotional energy towards that. I feel like I want it all to go into here, but I also realize that you got to do what you got to do. Like you can't choose like what you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We spend more time recording the podcast is one thing. That's the easy part. It's the whole, we have to build create the episodes, do the audio, the video editing, as well as all the upload and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cutting it. Shall we put the word out if people want to chip in, help in any way,
Yes,
come on and
we've discussed the idea about getting people to help out and getting them on board.
We do have some help coming.
We have help coming.
Yeah,
but again, it's that same thing where I suppose we're just the old washed out rockers that just don't want to fucking do it. Like,
I wouldn't say washed out.
No, not washed out. We're just
no. My prime's coming up. 2 more years. My prime's 35.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're still a baby.
I'm gonna give it one more crack. It's I know what it takes to do all that stuff, but the social media just gives me the creeps. Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to come across as some sellout. Bloody, we've got all the fancy fucking gadgets, and look at all our.
I want to be a hidden gem.
Artwork and
I've always seen the podcast as something that you stumble onto and then go, oh wow, they talked to quite a few people, and then you kind of go back through the catalog, and it becomes something that you slowly grow to like.
It's a cult following.
Rather than this like, hey, got a plug, hey, listen. But I do understand that you need that to a certain extent as well, because you can't have 0 listeners,
No, we got like we still getting subscribers on YouTube.
Well, I don't judge it off YouTube. Yeah, I judge it off people that in real life that bring something up.
Yeah, but we're becoming old people and repeating ourselves.
Are we?
And the last thing I'm going to say is that I don't care. I don't care how many people listen.
No,
I don't care, but because it's the same way we look at our music is we do it because we enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking
Yeah,
hands down.